everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Can you believe that Christmas is just around the corner? And we have our new holiday Christmas card from Harry and Meghan. Now, it was literally just in the last podcast, we were theorizing about whether or not Harry and Meghan would even release a Christmas card and what it would look like. And we thought that maybe it would be a more generic corporate card because that's what they've done a couple of years in the past. But we got this lovely, sweet picture of Archie and Lily. Definitely looks like it's at the Montecito home. So adorable. So adorable. Look at Archie. He's like half his father's height now. And my goodness, those kids are ginger. Two ginger little dumplings, cute little ginger dumplings. Oh, very, very sweet. All right, let's see who's in the chat. Hi, Connie Barmer, how you doing? Hey, Caroline, Vanessa. Hey, Gwen. Hey, Gak. Yes, you're catching alive. Hello. You're catching alive because Anne has insomnia and can't go to sleep. And then I saw the picture, the Christmas picture, and so I was like, you know what? Might as well do a podcast. Hopefully by the time I finish doing the podcast, I'll actually feel tired and then be able to go to sleep. My gosh. Gonna have to do something about this insomnia. Anyway, it's helping us today. It's helping us today because now you lot get a podcast. Okay. Let's get into it then, shall we? Yes, let's start with the happy news. Christmas picture. This was posted on Meghan's Instagram. So it's Archie, Lily, and their parents in what appears to be their home in Montecito, or at least I think it is. Their house does have like rivers and like mini rivers and ponds. So just a lovely picture, just warm, happy. And Meghan captured it with "Happy holidays from our family to yours." And modern and sweet. I wonder who took the picture because the person who took the picture isn't tagged. I wonder who took it. All right. Thank you for streaming into the chat, everyone. The dress that Lily is wearing has sold out. Wouldn't surprise me. I do love that they continue to protect their children's faces, especially in light of what we're learning through the Archewell. Well, they're no longer the Archewell Foundation, they're Archewell something else now, which we'll get onto, but all the work that they're doing, and it's really scary out there, a lot of this deep fake stuff now is now extending to children, and I think that's what they want, for their kids, to protect their kids for as long as possible. Unfortunately, we're all living in this hellscape, and if there are pictures of you out there, somebody can make deep fake PORN, unfortunately. But I think it's important to protect children for as long as possible, especially children of their profile. So always grateful whenever Harry and Meghan decide to share parts of their family lives. But honestly, if they never wanted to share these kids ever, wouldn't blame them and wouldn't be mad about it. Yeah, it's just a really beautiful family, isn't it, Connie Barmer? You can just look at it and feel all fuzzy inside. Pretty sure Meghan's dress and shoes are probably sold out as well. Okay. Yeah, wasn't expecting this at all today. What a pleasant surprise. All right, some other pleasant surprises. Harry at the Polo. These are the pictures coming out of Harry at his Polo event where he was apparently replacing a friend. So somebody that couldn't take part, and so he went and played polo. I didn't even know that they played polo in the snow. I learned something new today. Apparently, there is winter polo. Who knew? Really rich people knew. I didn't know. He was there with Nacho for the Aspen Valley team, and Megan reposted a picture of her man, her man, her man, her man, with the caption, "Oh, hello there." So Prince Harry playing polo again. He made a surprise appearance at the St. Regis World Snow Polo Championship on Wednesday in Aspen, Colorado. Following the match, Meghan took to her Instagram story to swoon over her husband. Earlier in the day, a spokesperson for Harry confirmed to people that he was standing in for a friend at the polo tournament. Lovely, just living his best life. Harry sure does look great when he is playing polo. Oh, give me a sec, folks. I really need to sneeze. Oof. Yes, resistors. I had no idea that snow polo was a thing either. I'm not rich enough yet to know that snow polo is a thing. Yeah, Archie, Lily, and their parents, because the real king and queen are Archie and Lily. So it's Archie, Lily, and their parents. You just know them kids run that house. Archie demanding his waffles. Okay, with the Archewell Foundation, congratulations to Archewell on a fantastic year. They posted a roundup video showing all the cool stuff that they've done this year, all the impactful things that they've done this year. And in the video, blink and you missed it, Archie and Lily helping out with the volunteering. So, Archewell Philanthropies, the Archewell Foundation is now going to be called. Archewell Philanthropies is home to the charitable work of Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, as they broaden their global philanthropic efforts for meaningful reach and maximum impact. After 5 beautiful years, the Archewell Foundation is becoming Archewell Philanthropies. This charitable entity allows the couple and their children to expand upon their global philanthropic endeavors as a family. Now, I do wonder, is the name change also maybe linked to company structure if they're looking to start donating and doing stuff in other regions as well? I don't. I mean, does anyone know about the legalities of whether you have to be called a foundation or something else? Be interested to know. Regardless, it does appear that they are going to continue to expand their efforts, which is amazing. And it's also interesting in this statement that they add the entity, the charitable entity allows the couple and their children to expand, and their children. So, um, I mean, is that a sign that the kids are going to be a lot more involved, if not now, in the future? I mean, you can see that Harry and Meghan are trying to get their kids to be very hands-on at the moment. And it's great to see them, encouraging their children in that way. Gwenny said, I am OG. We always called Archie King Archie. Yeah. All the way back to the Sussex Squad podcast, right? Okay, next thing. Right, let's get to the mess. Because listen, as the year ends, it would appear that Harry and Meghan's trolls are in some endless battle to see who can be the worst. It's like they're in competition with each other to see who can be the worst and perhaps even who can get sued the hardest. Because you would think, after what we saw with the whole GB News debacle, anybody going forward would be a little bit more careful. But oh no. Oh no. Here we have Tina Brown just talking absolute nonsense. This lady is, you know what gets me about the Tina Browns and the Meghan Kellys, and we're going to get to Meghan Kelly in a moment. That woman is losing her mind. It's just like they're not embarrassed. They're not embarrassed. They're shameless. Anyway, let's get on to it. Her and Tom Bauer should be a couple, to be honest. They can obsess over Harry and Meghan together. So, from Celebrity, it's so funny to see how much the Duke and Duchess of Sussex communications team has dramatically changed strategies over the course of the last year. They are no longer letting stupid, evil, and defamatory stories fester out here unchallenged. The Sussexes now respond quickly even to smaller, dumber stories. This week featured a particularly stupid one. Tina Brown appeared on Katie Couric's YouTube show, and the conversation turned to Prince Harry. Tina claimed that she had lunch with Jane Goodall shortly before Goodall's death on October 1st, and that Goodall spoke about their friendship with Harry. These are Tina's words. She was one of the only people outside the family that went to see Archie when he was born. And Harry said, "This is my little African child. Is going to be my child who essentially, my wild child, essentially. They were going to have this time together, living a life off the grid, as it were." She said she was absolutely stunned when he chose the life that he did. As I said yesterday, I did not believe that Harry would say that Jane Goodall, um, nor do I believe that Goodall would have said that to Tina Brown. Well, Harry's spokesperson got on top of the story immediately. Prince Harry told primatologist Jane Goodall that his son Archie was a little African child after he was born, according to the former magazine editor Tina Brown. A spokesperson for the Duke of Sussex said, "The Duke of Sussex has never said anything remotely resembling what is being claimed. Tina Brown knows exactly what she's doing by inventing these words and attributing them to a highly respected woman who is deceased and unable to correct the record." Exactly. It's just so classless and tasteless of Tina Brown to say something like this. Because Jane Goodall isn't here to defend herself. Just making stuff out of thin air. Completely out of thin air. Tina Brown is clearly still a British tabloid operative, because this is one of the tabloid's favourite things, announcing that dead people speak from the grave about how much they hated Harry and Meghan. Queen Elizabeth II and all of her dead associates said horrible things about Harry and Meghan. Exactly, they've been doing this the last couple of weeks. The Queen said this about Meghan. Prince Philip said this about Meghan and Harry. It's basically a weekly feature of the Daily Fail, the Times and the Telegraph at this point. I'm sure they're gearing up to say that the late Duchess of Kent also said some ish about the Sussexes. Anyway, it was obvious that Tina Brown was talking out of her colonizer arse, but it's still good to see Harry shut it down. Why on earth would Harry have told Jane damn Goodall, "This is my African child"? Exactly. Just this morning, Tom Sykes got an exclusive for his Royalist Substack. Tina Brown commenting on Harry's denial, with Sussex sources reacting to Brown as well. Tina Brown stood by her comment, however, telling the Royalist Today on Katie Couric's podcast, "I recounted what Jane Goodall said to me in June of this year about Harry. She remembered affectionately Harry saying, 'When Archie was born, I want you to come meet my African child.' She actually said Africa child, but I was speaking too quickly. Aside from that inadvertent mistake, everything else in Miss Goodall's conversation with me, I rendered accurately." Oh, so now she's even changing the phrasing. The thing about, this whole thing is just so unclassy. But her using the term "my African child," I want you to think of that in the context of how, say, an arist, bigoted Daily Fail reader or Sun reader would see that, right? And that's who Tina Brown is hoping to trigger when she says stuff like that. So it's gone from my African child to my Africa child. I mean, like it makes any difference to just how unclassy it is for her to be saying any of this when Jane Goodall is just not here. A source in Harry's camp brushed off Brown's clarification, saying, doubling down but now clarifying inadvertent mistakes. What else is she getting wrong? Exactly. In the podcast, Brown framed the comment in the context of royal expectations that Harry might leave the family, saying, I am told that the Queen always thought that Harry would go off and want to be out of the royal family, but they all expected him to go to Africa and become a person who focused on conservation of animals in Africa and live a kind of off-grid life. Nobody expected him to go to Montecito and lead the opposite of the off-grid life, which is the celebrity life. And I don't think that Harry thought he was going to do that either. Absolutely none of these people knew what Harry wanted. So I don't know why they keep speaking on it like they do, or they did. A source in Harry's camp said today, he didn't say it. It's not fair on Harry, but it's also not fair on Jane Goodall because Jane is not around to be able to confirm it. It feels like Brown is now rowing back on it anyway. Exactly. Brown is now claiming that Jane Goodall quoted Harry as saying, my Africa child. Please, all of this is BS. Harry didn't say it to Jane Goodall, and I'm sure Goodall didn't say it to Tina Brown. In my opinion, this is Brown putting some unhinged spin on something which was probably very innocent, like Harry talking to Goodall about taking his wife and son to Botswana, or telling Goodall that he didn't want Archie to grow up in a neglectful, abusive royal world. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that whatever Harry said, it was probably something light-hearted, and she's spinning it. Like, now, remember, they did take Archie to Africa when he was a baby. So I can imagine he probably, whatever he said was probably in that kind of context, and she's trying to spin it into something else. I don't even think he probably used those exact words. I don't even know what to say about this. I think Tina Brown is a very, very desperate woman. Just another one who's totally obsessed in just such a deranged way. I mean, yes, Annie Bennett, these people are truly despicable. Despicable. Because why was this information that we needed to know? Why did we need to know this? Yeah, cookies and cream. I'm so glad that they're finally calling out all of this nonsense. It's about time. It is absolutely about time. And I'm just so glad that the PR team is being more proactive. You can't just ignore everything. You can't respond to everything, but you can't ignore everything either. And I think this is what the first PR team got wrong. And what this PR team is correcting. And notice how GB News have gone real silent. I think a lawsuit is coming, and I hope it is. And there was this excellent statement that was released today. This isn't from the Sussex people at all. I think this is just an independent body. I think this was from I think it was the Black Women's, a Black Women's organization. Let me just take off the banner so I can read this properly. So for immediate release, Karen Malone and GB News must be held accountable for broadcasting dangerous falsehoods about Doria Raglan. Black Women Lead, so this is the organization, condemns in the strongest possible terms the reckless and defamatory remarks made by Karen Malone on GB News regarding Miss Doria Ragland. The comments aired were not only entirely false, but dangerously irresponsible, targeting a private Black woman who has never been to jail, has no criminal record, and is not a public figure. Doria Raglan is an educated Black woman whose dignity and reputation deserve accuracy, not baseless, racially charged misinformation. By airing such blatant falsehoods, GB News failed in its basic journalistic obligations and exposed both itself and Miss Malone to significant defamation liability. This is not a slip of the tongue, it was a deliberate inflammatory falsehood that places a private citizen at risk of public harassment, reputational damage, and emotional harm. As an organization dedicated to uplifting and empowering Black women, Black Women Lead finds this conduct aberrant. Karen Malone's statement is a bold and intentional lie that forces the impacted individual into the exhausting position of having to defend herself publicly and potentially through legal action. This compounds the systemic and ongoing abuse that Black women face in media spaces. Malone has crossed the line, and the consequences must reflect the seriousness of this misconduct. GB News must, number one, issue a full public, unequivocal apology from GB News to Dora Raglan and actually keep it up and not delete it. Number two, an immediate on-air correction, acknowledging that the claims were false. Consequences for Miss Malone, whose repeated inflammatory commentary continues to harm private citizens and degrade public discourse. I mean, this isn't the only thing that she said that is horrible. She has been problematic. False claims designed to demean Black women are never acceptable. GB News allowed this to lie to broadcast. It's now the responsibility to repair the harm. I think that they are going to get sued and they will likely have to apologize again. Like, they literally just handed Meghan's people a win. And they should have to apologize again and keep that apology pinned to all of their social media for weeks. Insane. Okay, next thing. The Welleses also put out a Christmas card, by the way. But what's interesting about this card is the picture here. It appears to have been taken earlier in the year. It's not a new picture. This is a reoccurring theme with the Welleses, using old pictures or using pictures from other shoots, recycling photos. It's just interesting that over and over and over again, they can't seem to get them all in one room to take a picture. To the point where we have to make Frankenstein photos. Why isn't a family that just moved into its so-called forever home, why can't they take a family picture? What's going on? Just a couple of weeks ago, we were hearing all about how Kate is redecorating and must be nice, redecorating your £1 million estate off of taxpayer money, even though they claim they're funding it from the duchy, right? But whatever. I consider duchy money our money because it should be the land of the people, not privately held by the royal family. Why can't people who are meant to be living in the same house together take a Christmas photo for the holidays? Just a thought. Just a thought. Now, I've just realized that I have actually forgotten to put it on my slides. But okay, I'm gonna play this in the podcast tomorrow because we should be able to laugh at how ridiculous this is. But Charles did his hang on a sec, folks. Oh no. Okay, do you know what? Never mind. I'm just gonna skip over that. Yeah, never mind. We will talk about Charles in tomorrow's podcast instead. Because I just realized I've made an error on that story, and we don't want to do any journalistic errors on this here podcast. So we'll just skip over that. Meghan Kelly. I think that ever since that dead podcaster got shot, and his wife has been walking around um on a grifting tour, the most glamorous widow you've ever seen, by the way, pyrotechnics and all. I think that there has been a lot of unease between these kind of right-wing personalities. Not and I'm not referring to the fact that that individual got shot. They're not um the unease isn't necessarily about their own personal safety. It's like something has happened like between the people in those spaces. There's people taking sides. It's all just gotten very messy. And I think they're all very paranoid, because I think there's also other players. I'm not going to get too much into it in this podcast because we're not that type of podcast. But I'm just noticing that they all seem to be very much on edge, all seem to be kind of coming for each other's necks. And in the middle of that is Meghan Kelly. Now, obviously, between that dead podcaster's wife and other media commentators like Candace Owens, there are back and forths going on, and people are taking sides. Some people are not taking sides. Meghan Kelly is one of those people who seems to be refusing to take sides. And she is just having a full-on meltdown for some reason. She seems to be spiraling, yelling at her yelling at her friends. I've said for a long time there's definitely something wrong with this woman's marriage. Don Lemon apparently had to tell her husband to stop looking at Don Lemon's husband. Now, why is Meghan Kelly's husband looking at Don Lemon's husband instead of looking at Meghan Kelly? I don't know. But this lady, the last few weeks, some of the things that have been coming out of Meghan Kelly's mouth, I think that this lady has gone to a very, very dark place. I don't even think she knows who she is anymore. This is late stage right-wing commentator, cuckoo crazy mental breakdown happening. It's happening to what's her face, Laura Loomer, as well. Like, they all seem to go down this way. And as I don't know if it's the hate that festers inside of them, the paranoia, the backstabbing that happens between them, because they don't really have a cause other than to make money off of clickbait. And I've been saying that Meghan Kelly is going to be the next person who comes after our Duchess Meghan regularly, who gets her karma. And here she is. I think this is the beginning of the breakdown of Meghan Kelly. Meghan Kelly could have had things go really the other way for her. Despite all of her years on Fox News being an absolute menace, when the allegations against Roger Ailes came out, she had a moment of sympathy. She had a moment where she could have really leaned into a female audience. She had a moment where people had a sentiment of sympathy for her. And she seems to have just thrown that all away and become such a vile and ugly person. I don't think this is going to end well for Meghan Kelly. I genuinely think that she's having a breakdown. If you fill your heart with hate, this is just where it goes. And I can't say I feel sorry for her. I really don't, because she has been one of these ones that has come after our Meghan, and she just seems to be spiraling. Yeah, the Megaverse is collapsing. Exactly. And Don is, yeah, exactly. Don is a pretty flower. So let that sink in. Why was Meghan Kelly's husband looking at Don Lemon's husband? Yeah, exactly. Electra, they were together for the Christmas concert and the luncheon. That would have been a good time to take a picture for the card. Even though, if you look at the pictures of the kids at the concert when they're walking in, they look miserable. They look miserable. Huh. Let me just tell you, as a child of divorced parents, I know the look, is all I'm going to say. Rose, Kate was not part of that photo. There were flaws in the photo. Yes, there are actually some even in this photo that you see, there are flaws. Like, for example, her hand. There's something weird going on with the Photoshop with her hand. If you zoom in, you've got to zoom in to see it properly, but definitely something weird going on. But I do believe I think the Photoshop is bad, but I do believe that these were actually photos that were taken earlier in the year, but they were from a different shoot. I think I'm less concerned about the Photoshop in this photo, and I'm more concerned about the fact that they wouldn't take new ones and they used old photos instead. That's what I find very highly suspicious. Electra said she's breaking down because she's a beer to her husband. Listen, I think all types of weird things are going on with Meghan Kelly. I mean, she's out here defending PDF files and just all types of weirdness. It's all getting very weird in the Megaverse. I mean, you had Trump today, announcing some kind of Hunger Games-esque competition. Like the Hunger Games and The Handmaid's Tale were fiction books. They were not guides on how to run a country. Insane. Anyway, Meghan Kelly getting exactly what she deserves. Gardro, you said, remember William and Kate have 3,900 fake accounts that reported by the British paper. Well, I mean, if you're referring to the bots, it's probably more than that. The bots are whoever is paying for these bots and has been for the last few years needs to be exposed. Whether it's the palace, whether it's the tabloids, or possibly both working together. You can literally hire a bot farm. It's insane. Suzuki, they are not living together. Well, one way to quash the rumors would be to just stage a photo, even if it was fake. So the fact that they can't even stage a fake photo to show that they're together during the holiday season tells you everything. Tells you everything. Okay, I'm going to end things there. Thank you so much, folks. You are so much appreciated as usual. It was nice to actually get a cute Christmas pic from Harry and Meghan. Wasn't expecting that at all. And do very much appreciate them sharing their family with us as always. All right, folks. I will see y'all tomorrow. Love you all. Ciao.